So today, we are putting up a fence in my yard. So my kids and I live in a house that is there's like 3/4 of the fence is complete. And it's done with a privacy. It's done with a privacy fence, so that is really nice. It's wooden, except for it doesn't go all the way around. So I have a dog too, and I don't know, I think it's just easier if we fully fence it in. So there's about 16 feet of fence that needed to be installed, and one of my neighbors is so incredibly helpful, and he has all the tools and all the equipment, and he has the expertise because he's retired now, but when he was working in his working days, he owned a landscaping company, and so he just knows how to do all of this stuff. So I got really lucky to have such a great neighbor. And anybody can have those skills, but the fact that he's always willing to help and be a part of any kind of projects that are going on in our neighborhood and our community. So I'm just really grateful that we have such a neighbor. I'm also really excited to have a fully fenced in yard because I love to do yoga, and sometimes I like to do it naked, and everybody does. I think everybody would rather be naked in their own house, on their own property, and just have that freedom. But in the city, it is so hard, and I will tell you, my kids especially love to do that. Maybe there was way too much information here. I don't know if I'll cut this part out or not. But anyways, let's get on topic. And so having said that I have a neighbor who's willing, who has a skill set, who has a good attitude about helping other people, leads me into today's discussion. And today's discussion is about how people could have all of these skill sets. People could have a PhD, for all I know, who have advanced skill sets and research ability and skills that are very hard to obtain and take a very long time. And people who can reach goals like that are just like, that's incredible. That's great. That's stamina, that's productivity, that's determination, that is willingness. And that's all very important. All of those values are very important. Hardworking, dedicated, absolutely. But I think the problem would come in then if the person doesn't have, and I don't want to say it, I read something online that said emotional intelligence. And I don't know if I agree with those two words being used together, because intelligence is like the bacteria in our bodies. That's intelligent life. And so I just don't know if I agree with emotional intelligence. But if they don't have the emotional capacity to handle conflicts, if they don't have conflict resolution abilities, and it's ironic because I did know somebody who had a PhD in conflict and resolution, and they still lack to the emotional, maybe it is intelligence, maybe it is emotional intelligence in order to handle a divorce that they went through, and they ended up losing their kids. And this is somebody who has the capacity to research conflict resolution. So like I'm trying to say, it's just that it doesn't matter what kind of skill set you have, it doesn't matter how many years of experience you have, if you can't handle conflict in a meaningful, purposeful, and directive and just kind of like a leadership kind of way, then the rest of that stuff probably won't matter. In some cases it can, like people who work together in some kind of a painting field or construction field, fencing field, whatever, maybe they don't maybe they treat each other much differently than the white collar jobs out there. White collar jobs. That's what I said. White collar jobs. I just want to clarify because it sounded weird to me. So anyways, I think that's the difference, is that it depends on what type of work that you're doing, and the communication is going to be different. If you're doing something more constructive type or construction type, than if you're doing something more in the office, the communication is going to be very different. So if any of you were trying to look into switching careers, that could be really helpful advice for you, because it could direct you to a field that, now that you understand that each industry is not the same, that you won't get treated the same, and that the respect from the employees will be shown in very different manners, or not shown, or shown more so, or whatnot, in each different environment. The environment is very important. It is a very important determiner, is that a word? Is a very important factor to consider when looking for a job, because the environment will have a very great effect on you as an employee or as a contractor or whatever you're doing. So, but that leads me to my next point, and that's that I was trying to think, like, because today I went to a store and I saw some people who were having some issues with an order, and one of the gentlemen must have been her dad, because he could have been my dad, maybe just a little younger than my own dad. But he had a major issue with the problem, but I don't think it was the problem. So the girl had ordered something and it didn't come in the way that she had ordered it. And it was the store's fault, and they made them wait for a long time. Apparently they were there for a long time before we had arrived. And the gentleman, though, had maybe taken an old school approach, or like just an approach that would not be considered conflict resolution. It's like the opposite of conflict resolution, and took an approach that was more personal and wanted to inflict pain. And there are approaches to inflicting pain. I think that if you're doing a sales job, you kind of want to coach your customer into buying what you know that could benefit them greatly. So you want to inflict a little pain, there's a difference though, because not in a hurtful way. You don't want the person to walk away hurt or damaged or just in worse condition than when you first started. You want to coach them through it. So you want to help them realize the pain, and then help them realize the solution to that pain, so that it's one less area of their life that they need to stress out about or not have a solution to, because that alone will cause a lot of conflict in a person's life, is just having a problem, knowing it can be solved, but then not taking any action to solve it. And so, but that kind of pain is very different from like the pain that someone incurs, or someone is trying to inflict to get something out of it for their own personal gain. I think that that's the difference, is that not all salesmen, but if you are a good leader, a good salesman and a leader in society and in the field that you are in, then you will always be looking out for the other person's best interest. Is this going to be their best route? Then I genuinely want to convince them that it will be in their best interest. But when you are an upset customer, and it kind of like flips it onto the greedy side, right? And that's why I mean like an old school approach to business, is because I think that a lot of people used to view business people as greedy or mischievous, or just full of malicious intent. And I genuinely believe that the world that we live in today, yes, there are businesses, you have to watch your back. There will always be a bad side to everything. But I really believe that there are a lot of companies who, yes, they want you to buy their products, but they also look out for your best interest. They also have ethical standards that are higher than they used to ever be ever before. And so collectively, they're looking out for the collective's best interests, as far as, like, for example, the girl who had a problem, she was going to get a different product instead. And that's what they were discussing. But the gentleman had jumped in and had said, did you know that this is going on? Did you sell someone else these products while we were waiting for them? Like, and made it very personal, jumped to conclusions, made it so that, like, honestly was trying to see the worst to inflict maybe shame so that they would be more motivated, or his hopes were probably that they would be more motivated by shame, into giving them whatever they want. And to me, that's like, it's greed oriented. And so, yes, the girl should get what she wants, and she did pay for it. And it was a product that she had pre-ordered. It should have been there. But whatever happened, whether it was sold to somebody else or whether they just were missing a shipment or whatever happened, I think that the girl was taking a more like a solution-based approach to it, like, how can we work together to resolve this? And the manager was too. Well, the gentleman was thinking, the only way that I can get my way is if these people feel like crap for what just happened. And, I just don't think that that's in the best interest of anyone. The company is going to take their responsibility. Honestly, in my own experiences, probably 90 to 98% of the time, companies genuinely will step up to take their responsibility. And I think I just have a really good eye at understanding which company to go with. Not understanding, feeling it out. I just feel out like which company is going to be more likely to take responsibility if something were to go wrong, and work with me that way, because I know that I'll take my responsibility. I know I'm willing to accept responsibility if something doesn't turn out right and there was something that I could have done that was better. But things are not always a one-way street, right? The consumer and the business, they're in a relationship. It has to be a two-way street. So if one person is constantly apologizing, then the other one, it's unbalanced. It's probably not right, first of all, but also it's now not a good relationship to be in. And you're probably not going to someone's not going to get what they want in business, and that relationship will be severed, because there are so many other businesses out there that consumers can go to, and there are so many other consumers that the businesses can go to. So they don't need each other. That's why in business particularly, it's really important to keep those relationships at the top, like as your main focus in everything that you do. Because nobody needs each other in this world anymore. As far as businesses and consumers go, there's like an overflow of an abundance of businesses. There's an abundance of consumers. And so not needing each other, that's out of the equation completely. So that toxic stuff has to be cut out. And the only way that both can thrive is if they make sure to make it a two-way street at all times, 50-50, or maybe 60-40. But either way, if it gets past that 60% mark, I'd say that it's just toxic, and eventually it will come to a close. Someone's walking away with extremely hard feelings towards the other. And it doesn't make for a good relationship to move forward and grow with.